All right, what's up, folks? Today is July 21st, 2025. This is a live, so one take, and one take only. So what I'm attempting to do here today is just to recreate this volume profile that you see here. So a couple caveats. So one is I'm not going to work the syntax that allow it to update on every bar or update or anything like that. So I'm just going to work the syntax that pulls it the first time. And then so what we can do on a subsequent live or something like that is to add syntax that will update this on every bar. So it just moves this. So it adds the newer price series provider elements, and then it will update all of this profile. So let's get to it. Cut. All right. You have to bear with me. I haven't done a live in a while. All right, so here it is. Here's the volume profile. So again, I'm just going to kind of recreate this volume profile for you. I'll show you how to get through the logic of thinking through it. So this currently is on 5 days back, and you can set different days back that you want to cover based on the price series provider. Again, I'm not going to work the syntax tonight that will move this on every bar when you get a new bar. I'm not going to do that syntax tonight. We're just going to work the syntax that shows you how to work the price series provider and get this pulled up. So if we can open up our development environment, hang on. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So here we go. All right. 3 minutes in. All right. Let me start over. Okay. All right. So didn't realize I had my mic muted. All right. So we're going to go over to Toolbox. We're going to bring up the price series provider. Price series provider allows us to access certain elements of a historical data set. The price series provider. It doesn't only have price. It does have the price open, high, low, close. It also has information about ticks and volume and some other things. So we'll look at those real quick. If we go to interval, we can bring up chart type bars or volume, interval type, minutes, days, ticks. Usually I like to use ticks. I like the minutia of it all. So I usually like to do one tick, but if you do one tick, then it really doesn't like to give you what you're looking for. It's too many elements to run through the loop. It will give you a infinite loop detection. So what we're going to do is we're going to go days back, and we're going to try to get this for 5 days back, just like we had on the initial video. All right. So as far as including volume info, yes, we do want volume info. That's primarily what we're looking at. We don't need the tick info. So let's put that to true. All right. And then you need to set your symbol. All right, so that's pretty much everything you're going to have for your price series provider. We're going to go over here to the screen and we're going to do a once print statement, print price series provider dot count. Now, can we do that just yet? Well, you should only access your providers if you have qualified that they have data there. So if price series provider dot state equals, now we want to do data state. Data state doesn't come up. That's a part of the ts data dot common. So we need to use that using ts data dot common, and then we can get data state dot loaded. So if we've loaded this price series provider state and the price series provider dot count is greater than 0 and it's the last bar on the chart, then once we're going to print how many elements we have in the price series provider. I'm going to verify that. Come over here, clear that. Now we're just going to verify one more time. Make sure that's on here. This is volume profile v4 using data common. If psp.state is data state loaded and psp.count is greater than 0 and last x. Let's put last x first. Okay. No. All right, where are our print statements at now? Come on now. All right, so let's just go back over here, make sure that we have everything right. We didn't load it. Double click that, so it's true. All right, now we're gonna come back over here, verify, and we get, how many elements do we get in the price series provider? We get 396,000. Okay, so now that we know that we're getting elements, now what we want to do is we want to load the prices. So essentially what you've got here is you've got a bunch of prices. You see they're going along the y-axis here. You got a bunch of prices. So at every price, you have data that comes from each vertical data point, price series point. Okay, so each price series point might have a close, it might have an open, might have a low, might have a high. It will. But from one to the next, you may have data such as in that interval, how much volume was there. So you could go bar by bar, you could go tick by tick, you could look at it a bunch of different ways. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at for each price series provider. And like you see, there's 396,000 here for each price series provider. We want to find out what the price is. And then we're going to line up that price with the volume that's there. Okay, so instead of just printing this on a one statement, we're going to X load prices. All right, so when we go to method void X load prices, need two indexes, if I recall correctly, index of A and index of B. Begin, end. Okay, so now what we're going to do is for each price that we run into in the price series provider, so we got to loop through the price series provider. So we're going to say for IDX of A equals 0. Yeah, we can go up. 0 to price series provider dot count -1 begin end. So what we're going to do is, as we're looping through each count in the price series provider, we want to say, hey, do we have a vector that's storing the volume data? So we're going to have a vector for we're going to have a vector combination for every price. So this price is going to be a vector index price and a vector index volume. It's going to be a pair. At this price, we're going to have vector index price and a vector index volume. This price, vector index price, vector index volume. So we need two vectors, right? And vectors will be using ELSystem.collections. Okay, and so we're going to have one that's called vector prices and one that's called vector volume. vector. All right, so now down here, before we do any of this, let's make sure that we instantiate our vectors. V prices equals new vector, and V volume equals new vector. Okay, so now we can use these up here. Okay, so for each price, so let me see, how do we want to do this? Okay, so for each price in the price series divider, we want to see, is there a matching price in the vector? So we're doing two loops. So we're doing this one loop, we're looping through all the prices in the price series divider, and then we're doing a subsequent loop that says for IDX of B, now we're looping through the saved vectors. For IDX of B equals 0 to V prices dot count minus 1 begin end. Okay, so we're going to say if V prices of IDX of B of that, because we're looping through the vectors. We're looping through this vector now, and this vector, the prices vector and the volume vector, is a pair. So we're going to add or subtract at the same time. So if V prices of IDX of B as type double equals PSP dot close of IDX of A, then so if we did find this price, if we found this main price within our vector group, then we want to add the volume of this price series provider to what's already in our vector. So we're going to say V volume at that same index, that index of B. So B is equal to, we got to take what's already in the index of B. Index of B as type double is our volume, plus price series divider volume at IDX of A, because that's our main loop up top. This is the main information that we're working with. Okay, and then we need to say that we found it. So found equals true, and then we want to break out of this loop. Okay, so we need a Boolean called found. Okay, and before we start modifying found, we need to make sure that found starts off being false. It resets every time when we come back and we have a new price series index. So every time we have a new price series index, we're making sure that our found is equal to false. And then we're coming into our vector, we're checking within our vector pairs if we have that price from the main price series divider. And if we do, then we're going to add our new volume to the volume vector. Then we're going to break out of this loop because we're done with it. Now, when we get done with this loop, when we get done going through everything in the vector, if we haven't found this to be true, so if found equals false, then we need to start a new pair. Then we need to say V volume or V price is, we just do a pushback. Pushback, I'm going to push back the price. So price series divider dot close of the main loop that we're in, IDX of A. And that's already going to be a double, so we don't need to as type it. And then V volume dot pushback price series divider dot volume of IDX of A. And that's already a double also, so we don't need to as type it. Okay, so I think that's it. Now we should, by the time we get done with adding the new ones and updating the ones that are already established, we should be coming out of our IDX of A, our main loop. Now once we come out of our main loop, we want to print v prices.count just to see how many price levels we have there. So we verify that. Takes a little while because it's going through all the vectors. We get 532 price levels. So that's great. All right, so now that we know that we have, we didn't run into any issues there with our indexes or anything like that, and we have 532 price levels. What we want to do is we want to now draw labels. Okay, so now we'll do X draw labels. And this will be another method. X draw. And we will use drawing objects. And drawing objects. And then, so we're going to need text labels. Text label. I don't know why that didn't come up. Let me see. There we go. T label. Okay, we will need an index so that we can loop through our IDX of A, so we can loop through our vectors. So for IDX of A equals 0 to v prices.count minus 1 begin end. What we're going to do is we're going to say t label is equal to text label dot create. Now we're going to use a DT point, datetime point dot create. That will be created with a bar date time. This will be our most current bar date time, and that's why I say we're not going to be updating this at this time. We can update it at another time. Bar date time, and then we need the price. So what is the price of this v prices index? It's actually going to be v prices IDX of A. But because it's coming out of a vector, we do have to as type it, as type double. Okay, so that's our price. That's our DT point dot create, comma, and now we need what we want the label to say. So we'll just put what we want the label to say will be the actual volume, the actual amount. So the amount of the volume will be stored in the volume, which will be the volume IDX of A, and that is as type double also. But because the label writes something, it adds a string, we have to do number to string. And so we're going to use 2 decimal places. No, we're going to use 0 decimal places because it doesn't have any partials. Okay, and then that, and then close that, and then we're going to do t label dot persist equals true, t label dot lock equals true, and then we'll do drawing objects dot add t label, boom, and one as type double number to string. We still need to put a 0 there. Okay, boom. All right, so it should be adding our stiff. There we go. Okay, so there are all of our volumes at each price. So at this price here, 63.52, 20, well, I guess this would be 25. I think it'll be at the bottom. So we're gonna fix that. All right. So the problem here is that when you got this text label here, is the price level right through the middle of it, 52.30, or is it like 52.25, or is the price sitting on top of the line? I think it's sitting on top of the line. Okay, all right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the style of that. You can change the vertical style. So we'll say tlabel.v style is equal to vertical style dot center. Verify that. Now when it comes up, it will be right through the center. So now we know that this price here is right through the center of this. 352 is probably 75, right? Okay, so now that we have that, now this isn't as useful. I mean, because you have to zoom in and then you have to see how much volume it is, 20,688 compared to 12,406 compared to 11,218. So it's not as useful as a true visual volume profile. All right, so in order to get a visual volume profile, what we want to do is we just want to take those numbers and then we'll assign it to a string, a character, and then we'll take that character and then we will divide our volume by some divisor. And then so every character will represent so many units. And we could still leave the volume up here and then just put that beside it. So that's an option too. We can explore that, but for the time being, we will still use this drawing labels area, and then we'll put a int, which will be a divisor. And then that int will be, I don't know, we'll start off as divisor is equal to 1,000. And then so what we're going to do is we need to find the volume. We need to find this volume here. So we'll take this out. And then we need to divide this volume by this divisor. Okay, and then that needs to be stored to some temporary number of characters, integer num characters. So num characters is going to be that volume as type double divided by the divisor. Okay, and so that'll give us the num characters. Now we need to assign that num characters to some type of string or whatever character we want to use. So we'll have a string that is, we'll just call it v profile. So the v profile is equal to an empty string, and now we will do a short loop. We'll say for 0 to number of characters, because this is going to be our integer. And to make sure we get this as an integer, we'll do int portion. After we get our division going, we'll do our int portion, and then we'll say as type integer, just to be sure. Now we know that this is an integer for sure. And so we'll say for 0 to all the way up to number of characters, we want to do this loop. Begin, we're just going to plus equals, we're going to add a character on the volume profile. What is that character? The less than sign. So v profile plus equals that. It looks like an arrow. It's nice and clean for our volume profile. That. Okay, and now here, instead of plotting our actual volume, we're going to plot the arrows. So that is the profile. Is that going to work? Close that. So when you do your loop, you need not for 0 the number of characters, for index of A equals 0 the number of characters. Now we got our index of A. We're already using index of A here, so let's use index of B. Okay, see what we get. And obviously you can change that that character. Okay, looks pretty cool, but for what most people are used to seeing, it's backwards. Not only is it what we might consider backwards if we're on the right-hand side of the screen. If we put it on the left-hand side of the screen, it'd be fine. But it's when we reorient the screen, it kind of goes off the chart. So I keep having to drag it over. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to horizontal style this thing. So we already did a vertical style. So now we're going to horizontal style it. T-label.hstyle equals horizontal style dot. The anchor will be to the right. So the anchor of this will be to the right. All right, so it looks like that. Looks pretty cool. So you see you got some volume down here. And this is, like I said, this is just looking over the last 5 days. Got volume down here, got a volume node right here, got a volume node right here. All right, so I'm specifically just kind of practicing up on this, getting familiar with the syntax and logic for this so that I can add it back to one of my scripts. So that's why I'm working on it. But if you wanted to add that volume back to it, we would just say, where's the volume? Volume is here. Volume, double volume. We're going to do this. We're going to say volume is equal to this. Cut this, paste it right there. And so then we can just use the word volume here. And then when we get down here, when we have gotten done with our volume profile, with our adding our number of arrows, we will just, at the end of that, v profile plus equals, we're just going to add to it a space and another space, and volume is going to be a number, so we need to turn it into a string. Num to string volume 0 places that, and then that should give us our number. So it should give us our volume profile and then the number on the end of it here. See how that did it? It stretched it out a little bit, so I mean, that's got to be up to your preference how you like that. But you see now we have the volume there and the arrows to match, so you can actually pull out these volumes if you want to. Okay. All right. I think that's it. I think that's all I'm gonna do with it today. Yeah. You guys have any questions, concerns, by all means, leave comments and join us over on Discord. I can add this one to the, matter of fact, I mean, I hate to add it without prettying it up and that kind of thing, but I am. I'm not going to pretty it up. You guys can make it your own creation, if you will. And again, this is not going to update as the day goes on. If you want to update it, you can just kind of come over here, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on. But until then, we need to come back to this thing maybe tomorrow or the next day, and then we will update this script with where it updates every bar with new data. So we can do that on another day, guys. All right, guys, I hope you got something out of it. I'm Eric. I'm out. Peace.